Time to stop the chaos.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Time to stop the chaos now.
Ba-dum.
On Fundraising Heyday, we talk a lot about how grant seeking gets more complex every year. Make 2023 the year you finally get a system to track grant deadlines and information.
It's time to stop the chaos with Grant Holster. It was developed for grant professionals by grant professionals, which makes all the difference.
The first month is always free. And Grant Holster is giving our listeners a 25% discount on the entire first year of your subscription. Just enter Heyday, all one word, HAYDAY, as your coupon at checkout, and you'll get that amazing discount.
And they have a hands-on demo at grantholster.com that lets you explore the platform on your own. But if you want someone to walk you through it, they also have folks that can do that.
So if you've been struggling with spreadsheets, clunky applications with a million workarounds, or just keeping your deadlines on sticky notes, head over to grantholster.com and take a look.
And remember to enter the coupon code HEYDAY at checkout to get your 25% discount for a full year.
And stop the chaos.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, hello there. I'm Kimberly Hayes-Zamuga.
And I'm Amanda Day.
And you are listening to
the Fundraising Heyday podcast.
We're here to help you make sense of the complex world of grant writing and fundraising, and more importantly, how we can work together to change philanthropy for the better.
Yep, and we do this every 2 weeks with some cheesy sound effects and songs because learning doesn't have to be boring.
And also, we're just kind of cheesy.
Yeah, that's true.
This podcast is brought to you by our Season 6 sponsor, D.H. Leonard Consulting and Grant Writing Services. Their team can help make grants less stressful by assisting you with grant readiness and training, grant research, grant writing, mock review, as well as providing numerous DIY resources, guides, and templates. Don't let grants stress you out. Did you know that with every Fundraising Heyday episode, we create a coordinating blog post on their website, dhleonardconsulting.com. Check it out today. So today, we're thrilled to learn more about how to develop sustainable leadership skills and business acumen from someone who is an expert in grants, business building, stepping into leadership roles, and just being an all-around grants guru.
That's absolutely true. So we are so thrilled to talk with our friend Shavonn Richardson. Shavonn is founder and CEO at Think and Ink Grant Consulting, which I love that name, by the way. Shavonn has over 19 years of experience delivering practical, real-world advice to nonprofit leaders across the country as a former nonprofit leader, grant maker, and federal grants reviewer. So she's done a thing or two. She's one of less than 450 grant professional certified folks nationally. So we're all in that fun little club. She serves as vice president of the Grant Professionals Association and volunteers as a sustainer member of the Junior League of Atlanta. Shavonn earned her GPC from the Grant Professionals Certification Institute in 2020 and is a Grant Professional Association approved trainer. She earned her BBA from Howard University in Washington, D.C. and an MBA from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. So welcome, Shavonn.
Thank you for having me. So thrilled to be here. It's an honor to be here with my two favorite grant professionals on the planet.
Oh.
The honor part, but thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
It's a good love fest because we're so excited to have you on the show with us. So,
special shout out if you're watching on YouTube. Special shout out to my beautiful backdrop, which is a wrinkly green screen. Hi, hello, how are you? That's what we're working with today.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. You can pay attention all you want. It's just not changing. So get with it. Feel the Emerald City vibe, and let's get into it. That's what I'm saying. So Shavonn, we always want to know how our guests get into fundraising or grant writing or whatever connection they have to nonprofits and local governments that brings them to us. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you have at least two origin stories, right? And I would love for you to share a little bit about them both if you would like. The first is, how did you find your way to grants, right? But the second is how and when did you discover your talent,
Mm-hmm.
demonstrated talent, and being an entrepreneur?
Ah, yes. Well, I will have to start by saying what a lot of grant professionals probably say. I kind of fell into it, right? You always hear those stories, right? When people share their origin stories, and I will say mine is no exception. So I unfortunately lost my grandfather to prostate cancer in 2013. And my family and I said we should do something, right, to carry on his legacy and to educate other families that are managing prostate cancer. We started a nonprofit. And it was about, encouraging those suffering from prostate cancer and their caregivers. And of course, I was writing all the grants because we couldn't afford a grant writer, right? And I really thought back to how I basically funded my whole undergraduate education by winning essay competitions in college. Like, you win an essay competition for scholarships, and I was like always winning. So I said, wow, this is a skill here for sure. And so then, being attracted to just writing, I said, okay, all right. And then I realized I had a skill for it. After winning a lot of the proposals that we submitted for, I noticed that there is a skill there. And so I really dedicated myself to improving my craft, researching, joining the Grant Professionals Association, attending webinars. I bought every book out there that you could ever imagine, right, to sharpen my grant writer skill set. But then at the very same time, there was an opportunity work wise at Bank of America Foundation. And I said, wow, this would be really cool because I feel like I can kind of learn more about what funders think and really get close to the nonprofits in Atlanta to support their amazing work. And so I feel like that experience made me an even better grant professional because I was able to review grant applications, right? And have those discussions about who do we want to fund, who do we want to support. So I would say that's kind of how I got into grant writing. And probably where this story ends is where my entrepreneur story begins. So as an entrepreneur, I was working at Bank of America Foundation. I was working some really long hours, and it was really fun to support local Atlanta nonprofits through sponsorships and grants. I loved it, but what I was missing is wanting to be closer to the action. I really wanted to roll my sleeves up and really support local nonprofits because in that role, you're meeting a lot of people, you're seeing a lot of nonprofits, but you're really not in a position to advise, right? Or give too much insight. You have to keep it very just kind of corporate speak, right? Because that's how it is in those places. So I felt like goodness, that nonprofit was so close to getting funded. They just missed like a few things, right? And I felt like between that and wanting more flexibility as far as just more control over my day, more control over my life, and really wanting to just invest in myself as far as being an entrepreneur. I gave myself 6 months. I said, Shavonn, you have 6 months to get your business plan together, to save, to do your anything you need to do to transition. And that's what I did. I stepped out on faith, and everyone said, "You're crazy, Shavonn. You have like an awesome job. Why would you want to leave?" Right? And I said, you know what? God is really putting something on my heart. And I'm not going to be disobedient. I'm going to listen to what I'm told to do. So, yeah, I stepped out on faith, and we have now grown to a team of 7, and it's been an amazing journey.
That's
It's been
awesome.
I'm like cheering from the sidelines because I've read all the you're just do wonderful things on LinkedIn, and I'm just like she's growing and growing and growing again. So that's incredible, and it is sometimes just about taking those chances, right? And just saying I'm feeling led into this, and there's got to be something behind it. It's not like you just woke up one day and were like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'll have a business now. I mean, it was just something you felt so passionate about. And I feel like that passion comes through in how you are leading your business and how you are leading and helping grow the grants profession. So it's just
Yeah.
it's really wonderful to watch.
Yeah, and I would say, Kimberly, it was even deeper than I thought. It wasn't until I got good and grown. I'm with my Southerners, so we can talk in our Southern slang. When I got good and grown,
Good and
um,
grown.
good and grown, I realized, like, looking back on my childhood, I realized, like, my this was my destiny all along. Um, I would grow up and spend a lot of time with my grandmother, and she was always helping somebody, right? Always helping someone at the church. She was a nurse by trade, so she would take in senior citizens that had nowhere to go, and she would take care of them. It would be people that are, like, experiencing homelessness. She'd take people in, and I grew up thinking, oh, this was normal. I'd come home, and my grandmother would be like, "Meet Mrs. Sue," and I'm like, "Hi, Mrs. Sue." I just thought it was a normal thing, and then I grew up and I realized that's not normal. Everyone doesn't do that. And as I learned more and more about my family history, I learned that I was the fourth generation in my family actually to do community work. And so when I learned that, I knew I was in the right field. Originally, when I graduated from college and I got my master's, I said, "Oh yeah, finance. I'm a finance girl." Right. And then I took a little peek in the finance. I said, "No, this is really not fulfilling to my heart and soul." So I really feel like I am walking my true faith.
That's
I love
lovely.
that.
That's, I
Mhm,
mean, how wonderful that you can find it, you know?
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
very true. Well, we know you're in the right place. And anybody who knows Siobhan and has seen her on social media, we know she's built a strong and thriving consulting firm by hard work and intelligent, sustainable strategies. But I read on LinkedIn recently that you've scrapped this year's business plan because of unexpected growth and opportunities. So, would love to hear more about what you mean by that and how, again, listening to your gut instinct has played a role in that and other decisions you've made.
Yeah. Well, what are we all taught about business plans? We're taught that if that's something you sit down in the prior year and you map out, and then when January 1st starts, then you execute your business plan, right? That's what we're taught, right? And we also have to understand that things like business plans are tools to help us. They're not to hinder us, right? They're tools to help us. So now that we are mid year, and as I do my ongoing analysis, I said, I predicted what's in my business plan for myself over a year ago. And those are good predictions. But now that I am seeing, I'm halfway through the year and I'm seeing that this year is going to turn out very differently based on what I'm forecasting. Time to scrap it and time to update it to reflect the new opportunities that are coming my way. So sometimes, a year out, you can't really see clearly what's going to happen, right? But as you're in and you get closer to it, it's really good to edit as you go, as needed, but still have those structures and barriers. I think that business plan helped me through Q1. It was needed. But come the end of Q2, it's time for update. So I would encourage anyone to use these tools to provide boundaries and direction, but also provide some flexibility when needed.
It makes a lot of sense. And it's making me think of evaluation plans and grants and how, it's always important to include process evaluation, right? Because you
Mhm.
want to make sure if it's a curriculum or a program that you're delivering the program in the way that it was planned, so that if your outcomes aren't coming up, you know why, because you've been keeping your eye on it all the way. So for people out there who are like, damn it, I'm a grant writer, not a business planner, I'm like, you know what, if you were having to put together those plans or work with someone who does, then those are transferable skills.
Mhm.
And it's also making me think, because back in the day, I'm not going to talk about walking uphill both ways to the nonprofit where I work and it was snowing. I'm not talking about
Oh,
that.
shucks.
I know. Back in the day, back in the day. But there used to be a more of a trend of 5-year business plans and where do you want to be in 10 years. And now it's more like, then for a while it was 3 years. And now it's like, okay, in the next couple of years. And now I'm kind of like, yeah, you can, it's good to think about that, but maybe it is every 6 months. Hey, what's happening? Am I still on this path, or did the bridge wash away? Did they build a new bridge on my path? And so just great advice in general to just kind of maybe do when you're reflecting a little more often than
I
each fiscal year.
hmm
Yeah. Well, and that just goes
So
to show
sort
a
of
plan.
thinking about, oh, go ahead. Go
Well, I
ahead.
was just going to show that just proves the point that a plan is something that should be a living, breathing document that you're checking in with regularly, not going, we got our
Yeah.
plan. Okay, let's put it up here. Let's just go. It's, you want to check in and see, are we hitting our marks? Are we way off target? Are we close? And adjust on the fly if needed. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's just, that's the comment that I was going to make. It's sometimes it's like, and I love that it's a tool and it's not your driver, because if you're like, I just have to, this is the plan, I have to stick with the plan.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, well, maybe it's not working anymore because things have changed so much. Like, hello, 2020, that was a big change. And I'm not even going to go into all the things that happened in 2020, but there were huge sea changes. And so anyway, just I'm loving it to talk about sort of looking at that. And the other thing that I would love to, well, there are many things, but the next thing I would love to have you talk more about is, um, again, LinkedIn. Y'all should find her on LinkedIn, and we'll tell you how. She'll tell you how to find her in all these places. But you're posting a lot about not only business things and advice and what's happening, but you bring in, hey, we're celebrating this graduation, or we're celebrating this special day, or
Mhm.
we're doing these things, and you do it in a way that comes. It just feels authentic, and it also seems like that is a priority for you just overall, like in work-life balance. And
Mhm.
um, I know there are just lots of schools of thought on how to run a business, right? It's go, 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 do all the things, push, push,
Yeah.
push, push, push. And then some folks are like, that guy that wrote, oh, just work, 4 hours a day and it'll all be good. I mean, there are extremes here, and I know, but how did you get to your philosophy of sort of always looking for balance? And
Mhm.
multi-part question alert, how has it helped you grow your business and maybe improve your work-life balance, if I
Yes.
may be so bold?
Yes. So I will say I started my business pre-COVID.
Right.
And this was before it was proven that people can work from home and be effective, right? So this was way before that, right? Part of the reason why I started my firm is because I have a desire to hire people that want to give back, that have skills, they have expertise, but they also have family members and friends and loved ones. And I feel like no one should have to compromise going to their kid's soccer game at 3 p.m. for a job. I was really intent about that because being a mother, being a wife, being a sister, being a daughter, I want to be and I like to have members of my team that are very well rounded. And I've always wanted to make sure that we were built on putting balance first, especially with COVID. I think it like sharpened that thinking during COVID because we lost so many people during COVID. And I also think running a prostate cancer nonprofit keeps that thought in my mind that you got to love your loved ones while you have them because you don't get that time back. So I walk the walk and talk the talk. Our policies support this thinking. We have personalized time off. We don't have 2 vacations. We don't have sick time. It's we trust our people to manage and balance themselves, and that they're going to get the work done. We love very driven people, very passionate people, very efficient and effective people. But at the same time, they may want to travel. They may want to do some things that they like to do. So I've created that culture and environment that's high performance yet balanced. And so I always try to be the model, right? Of being very, highly performance driven. But my daughter is 4, and sometimes I'm on my way to a meeting and I have crackers or crayons in my bag, right? Like it's a part of life, and so. I like what we've built at Think and Eat Grants, and I really think as we grow and as I grow as a professional, that will never go away.
Mhm. I love that
So
balance of
anyone out there, if you're looking for a job, this sounds like a great place to work.
it does. I
I
love
mean, it's great, and go ahead.
oh, go ahead, Siobhan. I'll jump in after.
Oh, sorry, you were frozen, so I wasn't sure. I everyone has a hobby, and we all know about our hobby, and our team meetings are like 15 minutes of like catching up from the weekend. So what did you do? Oh, what did you do? You went there? Oh my gosh, I want to go there. It's like 15 minutes of that, and then it's boom. What's the status on that Title 3, right? So we it's key. It's key, and I'm just really grateful to have a great team.
That's awesome. Well, and I love that you put that like we trust our people to they're going to get the work done. They're high performing, so we trust them. If they want to take a vacation, they take a vacation, and we don't have to be rigid about it. I that's such a great
Mm-hmm.
work environment. Um, so I think that's fabulous. There was a recent
Mm-hmm.
article going around LinkedIn about uh, particularly commuting, being able to work from home, whether a hybrid or a full time model, just how that especially benefits women, people of color, people with
Yeah.
disabilities, and how it allows you to be able to survive and kind of function. And I'm like with you, Shavonn. My kids aren't quite as young as yours, but it's still amazing how much you're having to juggle family life needs, whether it's an older parent or, a child at home, and but we can still get the work done. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I realized that like I had a 4-hour commute before starting thinking grants.
4 hours?
4-hour commute, 2 hours there and 2 hours back. And I found myself eating dinner really late and my health was starting to suffer. And I saw this one episode by Oprah, and Oprah was like, be very careful about betraying yourself. And I had to really assess, like, yeah, great role, great company, but what am I sacrificing for this? And when I added everything up, when I added all of the events I might have been missing or trying to race to get there on time, when I added up the toll things were taking on my health, when I felt like I was wasting 4 hours a day commuting, I said, I don't want to do this to anyone else. And so all of that kind of informed how we operate. Now, we are very selective in who we hire. I will tell you that. Get
Fair. That
applications
is
all the
fair.
time. Oh my gosh. And people reach out to me on LinkedIn all the time, like, oh, can we hire you? But we're extremely selective about who we hire. But just know we hire the best and the brightest, and folks that are with us are healthy and happy and glad to be employees of our firm.
very nice.
That is
Well,
so cool. I
go ahead, Kimberly.
No, you go ahead. I'm just jumping in and hopping around. I know we're having some storms. We're recording this on a summer's day in June in the Atlanta area, and we've got some weather coming through.
Yeah.
So we are just asking for your patience with the sound. We're just working around it. So Amanda, you just take it away.
Well, can y'all hear me? Because if not, can you hear me well? Okay. Good. So, because I think the storms are bad in my house. So I was just going to ask the next question
Mhm.
of how can grant professionals at the middle or further into their careers reach more potential employees or consultants to make sure that the grant profession better reflects the depth and breadth of the community served through grants and other fundraising?
Yeah. I say speak up. Speak up, engage, be active, let your voice be heard. I feel like funders respect community informed approaches to programming. And I'm sure they want to be informed as well, right? So I think as grant professionals, I've done a lot of the local work as far as engaging with funders and let them understand kind of the needs in communities, especially under the umbrella of DEI. So I would say definitely get active, become a member of GPA, plug, and connect with other grant professionals. And just make those connections and just be vocal about what's happening locally and what you're seeing. And I have been in positions where I've had opportunity to give funders feedback. I've said, I think that process is whatever, right? Of course, always positive and always in a way that you're giving a recommendation to help them improve going forward, right? Um, so sharing, what's happening in your community because they really care. I mean, folks that work at foundations, yeah, that's their job, but at the end of the day, they're people and they are passionate about what's going on in the community.
I think a lot of grant pros, especially if you're early on in your career, may have a fear
Mm-hmm.
of speaking out or
Mm-hmm.
speaking up or even engaging funders in ways that don't center just around the grant cycle. And I'll just speak for myself. At first, I'm like, oh, I better keep my head down, better send in the attachments. And then later on, I'm like, wow, this process, their grants process really stinks, that they seem to
Yeah.
be nice people. So, in some cases, in many cases, after building a relationship, it could be something like, have you ever considered a different format? Or, I like that you're updating your application, but maybe an Excel spreadsheet is hard for some people to access. When inside I'm going, oh my God, who paid you? Who did you pay to say that that was a good idea? Because you're wrong. But you can't charge in like that. But it's
Yeah.
important. It is important to speak up in civil ways and
Mm-hmm.
cultivate those relationships that allow you to do that and allow you to be heard in respectful ways. And then you can listen to other episodes of our podcast if you would like to hear
Mm-hmm.
me rant about it, because I do at great length.
Yes, please.
So yeah. So speaking about advice and looking back, and um, I'm just curious if there is maybe if there's one thing, or maybe two or three things, so whatever comes to mind. What do you wish someone had told you about grants and, multi-part question alert, building a business when you were just starting out? Because I know we're asking you a lot of multi-part stuff, but hey, you've done a lot of stuff that's really cool. So I want to capture these things. So, just if someone had just tapped you on the shoulder and said, Shavonn, if you X, this will be so much easier.
Yes, and I appreciate the multi-part questions. I will take the latter first. I would probably say, I wish when it comes to the grants profession, I wish someone would have let me know it's more of a people job than you think. It's more of a soft skills job than you think. Um, I'm an introvert, and I know so many folks that are in our professions are introverts as well. So I'm very comfortable doing the work that we do. But there is a people component. And I know a lot of folks have been having recent conversations around AI. And so they've been recognizing it's not just putting fingers to keyboard, but it's also about strategic support. It's about engaging with funders. It's about, well, not necessarily for us, but to support the client and engaging with funders. And as a consultant, being able to build those relationships with clients and really needing to understand what their needs are, both said and unsaid, is a skill. Um, I didn't realize it, but I'm like, yeah, this is really really a skill. And part of the reason why my firm is called Think and Ink Grants is because we help nonprofits think strategically before they ink competitive applications. So that thinking part is a lot of the consulting and supporting and all of that stuff. So I was a little surprised by that, but happily surprised because it's a good balance for me. It's not too much either way. It's a good balance. So that was a surprise. Um, the surprise about being an entrepreneur would be so at first when you're working a standard 40-hour a week, you're thinking, oh, when I start my business, I'll have all of this free time and flexibility, right? I can work, different hours, but no one tells you that you have the flexibility now to work 24/7. Right? You
Amen.
will work harder than you've ever imagined, right? And you all
Mhm.
know it, right? You will
Oh,
work
yeah.
harder. And the good thing is you're working for yourself, right? But you are working hard. So I want to encourage those that are pursuing the entrepreneur route. It is not easy. It is hard work, but it is certainly rewarding. So if the going gets tough, just know this too soon shall pass, and you get on and move on to the next thing. It's definitely something that there's no blueprint. You can hear someone else's journey and it can help you, but then it cannot because everyone's journey is unique. So you have to really define your own journey, what that looks like, and do the best you can. Right? Keep swimming. Just keep swimming, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you
Sound
talk.
advice. Yes, you do have the freedom. You
Yeah.
do have the freedom to work 24/7.
Hey, you are free.
Well, and I love that you shared that, everybody's journey is different, because I know when you first break into consulting, it can be very easy to look at someone and go, well, I have to do it that way. And the reality is there's lots of different ways you could create your consulting business, right? It doesn't have to be one way. So that's important to point out.
Yeah, that is so true. It's definitely more than one way to start out. Um, I had a thought and I lost it, but if I come back to it, I'll bring it up.
Please pop it in when it comes back and
Yeah,
know that that happens a lot to me
yeah.
anyway. So speaking of not one way to do it, and we were talking
Mm.
about shorter and shorter business planning cycles. If you could have a magic time travel machine, what would you like to be doing in your business in 5 years? Because I know, do you know what I mean? Or where do you just see yourself in that role? Just speculating because life happens, but I would just
Yeah.
love to hear your vision.
Well, I love sharing this answer because I cemented this answer before I even started thinking Eat grants, and it is in my business plan. Okay, so drum roll. You ready? I'm going to be retired in 5 years. Surprise! So there's a method to the madness, folks.
That
So
is amazing. So not the answer I was expecting, but I love to be surprised in a fun way. Oh, Shavonn.
I am going to be retired. So when you are starting a business, it's always good to plan an exit strategy. So I planned my exit strategy when I started. Now I didn't name my firm Shavonn Richardson LLC for a reason, right? I named it the way I named it because it has more potential to be sold later. So I am investing in building value, right? And I know you can't do this work forever, right? And so I will have loved this journey of helping so many, but I would say my true heart of hearts of what I want to do is I want to teach. I want to teach undergraduate students. Yes, I don't want to give back and use my experience as a consultant to teach. So I wouldn't mind, adjunct professor maybe twice a week, right? And then freeing my time up to be more of, mentoring and supporting other grant professionals as they're coming out. So you may think 5 years, it's like, Shavonn, you look like you're like no older than whatever, insert a number here, right? But you have to just be thoughtful and plan and just know that, know why you're doing your work. And I am doing my work to build value and to make my firm uh, sellable and to do all those things and to leave a legacy behind. I can say I created this thing. Here you go. Wonderful.
I love
And
that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yes.
I um I just think that's wonderful. Good for you for naming it and working toward it. And also just I would use the word retire a little loosely in your sense with respect and love, because it sounds like you're going to be really busy but in a different way.
In a different way.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I can see some books coming out. I can see a lot coming down the pipeline. And when I say that, people are like, you're not older than 25. I'm like, my son is almost 25. Like, so it's not, unreasonable. But no, you are right. I do use that word retire very loosely. But my day to day will look very different. But I think it will always be supporting the grant profession.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also think, as someone who is in that phase of my life and in those plans and looking at that, I think it looks very different now than it
Mhm.
did when I was a little girl and I'm looking at my grandparents, right? It was like a
Yes.
different, it was, and I love the idea of transitioning into different kinds of things versus I'm gonna retire and go fishing. That was a
Yeah.
granddaddy thing. That was a granddaddy thing. But and he did deserve his retirement and to go fishing. But I think today's retirement can just look a lot different. I wonder if retirement's even the right word, like
I know. We have to find
third
a new word.
career or I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's I'm just thrilled for you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
It's
cool.
not what people expect.
So over the next 5 years, what's the best way for people to find you?
The best way to find me is to reach out on LinkedIn. My first name is SS and Sam, HAD as in Victor, ONN Richardson. You can also visit my website at think and spelled out, no ampersand. So it's think and ink grants with an S.com.
Very
Nice.
nice.
And I do recommend y'all following her and connecting on LinkedIn because it's just really fascinating content. And
Absolutely.
it's, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy it. And I knew that's one of the reasons that I knew that we just wanted to have you on the pod and
Mhm.
talk and have you share your wonderful experiences. And I've just really, really enjoyed it. And Amanda and I both were looking forward to this. And we just want to thank
Yes.
you for coming
Thank
on.
you. One
Thank
last note. If you do follow me on LinkedIn, I have a Get Grants Better newsletter that I share articles every 2 weeks. So subscribe. There's some serious golden nuggets in all of the articles. So check that out.
Yeah, I can attest to that. So yes.
Thank you.
We're
Yes.
not just an interviewer, we're a client. No, we're just, you remember, that's an
Yes.
old commercial that only Gen Xers will remember, but I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Yeah, love
It was
it.
so good talking to you, Shavonn. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Bye bye.
Once again, it's my time to express how truly grateful I am for the time that you choose to listen to us, maybe laugh along with us, perhaps laugh at us. It's, it's all just part and parcel of doing this pod. Um, if you follow us or happen to listen to us on Apple Podcasts, um, we would love a review. It really helps the magic algorithm find other people like you and connect us all together through this podcast. So that would be great. We're also on YouTube if you want to sort of watch how the podcast sausage is made and look at some spectacular backgrounds that I myself have. Please tune in there. And if you just can't get enough of that Heyday stuff, check out our new website, Heyday Services, Hayday Services.com, where you can find out what's going on with us, get some great tips and tricks and good free stuff, and also sign up for the Heyday Hot Takes newsletter coming to an email inbox near you.
Thank you again to our Season 6 sponsor, D.H. Leonard Consulting and Grant Writing Services. We appreciate their support in making grants less stressful. Visit their website, dhleonardconsulting.com, to download their latest resources today. Yep. We really are honored you chose to spend time with us today. Be sure to join us again in 2 weeks. We are going to do a deep dive into deciphering federal grant announcements. You know, those NOFAs and OFAs and RFPs and FOAs and all those other letters of the alphabet they like to call grant announcements. See you then.
Bye.